Good morning and welcome to this week's LinkedIn Live on becoming a new leader. It's great to see you here. My name is Cara Cuniff and I'm a leadership development consultant. We transform leadership potential into leadership performance. So let's dive straight in. We're looking at becoming a new leader. Can you remember the time when you stepped into your first leadership role? Maybe you're in HR at the moment. Maybe you're a CEO. Maybe you're head of talent. Maybe you're head of people. But can you remember that moment when you had to step into becoming a new leader? Quite a scary space. That first day when you turn up and you're with a new team, and have you got the skills embedded in order to be able to perform from that very first moment? There are key challenges that our leadership development industry is struggling with at the moment. And there are several challenges that leaders are facing. The first one is that leaders are feeling unprepared when they step into these leadership roles. According to the Chartered Management Institute, 82% of managers entering leadership have never had any formal training. How is that possible? Would you ask an accountant to run your accounting part of your organization without specialized training? I don't think so. So why are we expecting this of our leaders? Excuse me. The other challenges that businesses are facing, pipeline development. Organizations are struggling to find a healthy pipeline of leaders. So if you can't find that pipeline, then you need to ensure that your business is developing that pipeline and is succession planning right from the outset. Leaders are facing a lot of overwhelm and a lot of stress. And sometimes confusion about their roles because they just don't know how to lead. They have never been formally trained in how to lead. Time constraints. This is a problem leaders are facing with regards to leadership development because there is always something else that it seems to be more important than spending time on developing themselves. And so that actually, oh, excuse me, that hinders personal development and growth. And then resource limitation. While HR want to develop more opportunities and develop strengths within the organization, within their people, they are struggling to find time and resource to devote to this, both within the department and among their leaders. And that then means that there is inadequate training being put out there within organizations. So if you are struggling with any of these within your organization, know that you are not alone, but this is something at ThriveWell Global we really want to champion and change. We believe there should be a high bar set for leadership development within organizations. We're going to explore the foundational skills that leaders need in order to be their best selves as a leader within your organization. We're also going to look at macro and micro moments, and those are the moments in organizations where leaders need a certain skill set in order to be able to perform. So we have a macro moment, and that is really if there is a new project that is being onboarded within the organization, or there is a business strategy change within the organization. Maybe it's a change that is taking place over a prolonged period of time. Your leaders will need a certain set of skills in order to be able to deliver on those macro moments. But then there are what we call the just-in-time moments, those micro moments. These are the moments when actually maybe there is a resource that your leader could go to and within 45 minutes have upskilled themselves in how to delegate or how to build trust or maybe manage meetings successfully. These are the micro moments where there is a small amount of training required to give a skills boost in a particular area. And so when we look at foundational skills that leaders need, we look at both the macro and the micro moments. Some of the skills that I know you know, things like communication, being able to articulate yourself well as a leader, both from a vision perspective, giving clarity on a vision and a direction, but also in terms of being able to give feedback, being able to be honest and transparent and authentic, but in a way where the information that's being given is received in a positive and well-meaning delivery. Then we've got emotional intelligence. How self-aware are your leaders? Are they self-aware enough to understand their impact on your team, so that they are building strong teams with strong performance because they are very clear about the impact that they have? So it's about managing their own emotions, but also starting to manage the emotions of the team. And for a new leader, becoming a new leader, that is a skill set that needs to be developed. Decision making. Sometimes leaders fail to make decisions because they don't know how to. They have never had any formal training in how to take decisions, particularly under pressure when things become difficult. Everything is easy when it's easy, but at the moment we know in today's environment that leaders are being challenged more and more. So, have they got the skill set in order to be able to make effective decisions? Delegation. Can they delegate? It's often something we see with new leaders, that when they move into new roles, they want to maintain control over everything at the smallest detail. And what they have to start to do is delegate and build trust in the team that they can let go. So it's about that sort of bit of let go leadership when you start to use delegation. So do they know how to delegate? Do they know how to resolve conflicts within the team? It's, again, another skill set. And these are skill sets that can be trained from a micro learning piece. Sometimes it's just knowing that there is a format that your leaders can follow in order to do this. But until they've had that little bit of training, they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. Learning to become more flexible, adaptable, and with that, more innovative and more creative. And then finally, resilience. How are they being supported in terms of developing their resilience? Again, it is a skill. It is something that can be learnt. And with that learning and with practice, that's how we embed resilience, so that your leaders can bounce back when it is difficult, when it is tough, so that they can get on with the day-to-day running of the business. So there are lots of different ways leaders, and I'll term them learners, can learn these new skills. We've got formal face-to-face leadership, and that's in-person stuff. And what we're seeing more and more of is that employees are looking to have more and more of that face-to-face stuff. They want it. Because that is where we have really effective learning and development. But what can support that is some coaching. If somebody has a particular need, maybe there is one particular area that they need some development and they just don't seem to be making progress, then actually that's where coaching can step in and support that leader in terms of developing that specific piece. Then we've got on-the-job experience. So this is having learned something and then putting it into practice in a safe way. And through that, they receive feedback so that they know how to continually develop that skill. But they also know that they're not in it alone. Often leaders don't want to tell you that they are struggling. And it's when they are able to share that they have some issues which can be coached through, trained through, that's where the business will grow, and that's where scale starts to happen, because your leaders are moving into the space of performance. They're moving away from potential and they're moving into performance. And we see leadership development as 3 stages. So we've got the first stage, which is building the foundational piece of leadership development within your organization so that it's set up for continuous improvement. Then we've got the designing and the implementing of effective leadership experiences. And I'll use that term experiences because it isn't just about, that in-person delivery or that online piece of work. It's about the whole experience. It's a holistic approach. And then we've got the third piece, which is the management of the leadership development piece. And the 3 of those work hand in hand to develop continuous improvement of leaders within your organization. You've got the short term. I see this as like sort of 1 to 3 months. And sometimes that is a question of coming in and designing some pieces for immediate effect. So that can be the micro pieces, learning how to delegate, learning how to run successful meetings, some of the smaller pieces. Then there is the medium term. That's the sort of 3 to 6 month piece. And that's where you can use things like coaching. That's where you can have peer-to-peer learning. The use of action learning sets works really well within that space, the sort of 3 to 6 months where maybe your leaders are getting together on a monthly basis and they're working through particular challenges or tasks or problems. And then you've got the ongoing learning. So that's the 6 months plus. And that is really where we're focusing on embedding leadership development within your organization. Know that you are not alone if this is something that you haven't set up. Sometimes we see organizations that don't have a consistent leadership language across the organization. Maybe they're using 2 or 3 different providers for different pieces. Sometimes that can work, but know that can also send mixed messages to your leaders because they're not sure which language to use. Am I following that methodology and framework, or am I following that methodology and framework? And we often see that can cause confusion within leaders. And so having a holistic leadership development experience, and that can embed succession planning well into your organization, works the best, for want of a better word. So if you have any questions on this, please feel free to send me a message. We are at the moment running a leadership audit. So we would very happily set up a call with yourselves to talk through how you're managing your leadership development experiences within your organization and, succession planning for your leaders within your organization. I'd be very happy to have that call with you. And we also have a complimentary resilience scorecard. So if you want to assess your resilience or some of those of your teams, then again, feel free to take the resilience scorecard. And those will be in the link below following this LinkedIn Live. It's been a pleasure to spend 15 minutes with this morning. This is a bit of micro learning for you. I wish you a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you shortly. Take care.